I started doing workshops and doing groups where I'm getting up in front of others, like outside of the gym setting, and talking about resilience and perseverance and goal setting and vision and taking action. You should know what 1 hour of your time is worth. You should know the value that you bring to the marketplace. You know what you're passionate. Starts with clarity of vision. If you don't have the clarity of vision, whatever next thing you get, you're not going to see it through because you don't have the clarity of vision. So the point of my pain was being told you will never run or jump again. And all that stuff, I was like, you know what? Like, I want to be able to take this even bigger. If you know why you do what you do, you have to know how to charge for what you do. That's how you're going to change your life, and that's how you're going to leave a legacy for your children and your family. You got to know your worth. Happy Monday, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rob, and I am back even though it says 384. This is actually episode 383 of Shut Up and Grind because my guest on Thursday blew me off and I got frustrated and I forgot to change it. Full transparency. But we're all about overcoming obstacles, defying the odds, and inspiring you to clear whatever's blocking the path to whatever type of success you want in this lifetime. So if you're brand new, I bring guests on from all over the world. I've had guests from 6 up to 7 continents, and at some point, we will have internet in Antarctica, and I'm going to interview somebody from there too. But this is about you, right? This is all about you. So whatever it is that you're struggling with, whatever it is that you're trying to break through, that's what we're here for. So it's about sharing the struggles and how we got through the struggles. And everybody struggles with something at some point. So myself and my guests, we come on and we share our real life struggles, like things that we've gone through. This isn't about, not knocking education or anything, but when you've been through something, sharing that story is one of the most powerful things that you can do. And you'll see when I bring my guests on, it always says right up above us, your true power lies in your story. And I truly, truly believe that. So today we're going to be talking about health and fitness, wellness, getting fit, losing body fat, all that good stuff. So when I bring on other fitness professionals, I want you guys to get an additional point of view. I don't claim to know everything. I don't claim to be the end all be all for everything, everyone in the world. There's different ways to do stuff. There's different methodologies. There's different modalities. There's different everything. Okay, so when I bring my guest on, we're gonna pick her brain for her expertise. And this is about you. So whatever it is you want to accomplish, I don't want to hear about any resolutions. I want to hear commitment. Like, what are you committed to accomplishing this year? And then just stick to that game plan. All right. So who's going to help me have this conversation? Dear StreamYard, I hate this new layout. All right. So helping me have this conversation is Lisa. She teaches a science-based approach to fat loss that actually works long-term. One rooted in nutritional periodization, hormone health, metabolism support, and sustainable habits. No extremes, no burnout, no starting over every few months. Sounds like music to my ears. Lisa, welcome to the stage. How we doing?
Thank you so much for having me on, Rob. I'm super excited to speak with you and your audience today. And yes, I truly hope I can provide a little bit of a different aspect to things, or maybe just guide people towards their goals and their resolutions, as you mentioned.
Yes. No, it's funny. When I first started this show, I had, I'd say probably within the first maybe 20 episodes, I had like 4 or 5 other fitness professionals on. And somebody actually inboxed me and was like, "Why are you promoting other trainers?" I was like, "What?" Like that's not what this is about. Like, this is about getting as much knowledge as possible. That's like saying I'm into fitness, but I'm not a strength and conditioning specialist. I'm not an athletic trainer. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a physical therapist. It's like there's different levels to this stuff. So, you know, your area of expertise may be a little different than my area of expertise. And either way, the audience wins. So it's like, that's what this is about. But
yeah, absolutely.
first and foremost,
and it's always nice to support each other. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. But where are you joining me from?
I actually live in Bolivia, so in South America,
Ah,
and I'm originally from Germany though, but yeah, I have been residing in South America for the last, or Latin America for the last few years, Colombia, Mexico, and so on before I came here, but currently down in Bolivia.
I was gonna try to figure out where that accent was from, and I would have been way off. Absolutely way off.
Yes, it's a little bit
Oh,
all
that's
over the
pretty
place,
funny.
I will say that.
All right, so let's dive in. So before we get into the topic at hand, how would you describe yourself?
Yeah, you gave me a little warning of this one, and that's a tough question, really, because you mentioned, like, who am I to the core? And I would say I'm a lover of freedom who wants to encourage people and myself as well to live their most authentic life in a body they feel good in a way that they also enjoy. Because I, for the longest time, felt like I had to choose between either looking a certain way or living a fun life. And let me tell you, Rob, I truly enjoy traveling. I love experimenting with different foods. I love being social and so on. And quite often, if we don't learn how to do that properly, that can easily lead to weight gain, can easily lead to falling off of your exercise routine and all these kinds of things. And since I have learned and figured out how to still keep doing all these things while pursuing my health goals, my fitness goals, my aesthetic goals, I want to teach as many people as possible how to do that as well. And I threw in the lover of freedom because I feel like too many people, myself in the past included also, um, just live a life the way that it's kind of like laid out for them by society or by their parents or whatever. Like you don't know any better. You just like, okay, so now I go to college, now I get a loan, now I do this, and I guess now I'm supposed to get married, now I'm supposed to, and before you know it, you're like, why am I doing all these things if maybe I only would really choose to do 60% of them and the rest I'm only kind of completing because I feel like it's expected from me. And I want to tell people that it doesn't have to be that way. It takes courage and, yeah, a little bit of clarity, or not just a little bit, but having clarity on what you actually want, in order to truly pursue your most authentic life.
See, so I wanna illustrate what you just shared. So I spoke at a career fair at a middle school. This was a few years ago. And so middle school, you're talking ages like 11 to 13, somewhere in that ballpark. And I remember asking, what's the life cycle of a human? And one of the young girls stood up and she's like, you go to school, you go to college, you get a job, you get married, you retire, you die. And this is like a preteen, and they already have that burned into their brain. Like that's the life
So
cycle.
sad.
So I'm glad that you opened with that, because I'm sure you see it in your travels. But when I do consultations, it's like people are just stuck into this follow the crowd mentality, where I've always been the apple in the bowl of oranges. So it's like it's tough for me to connect with people that are just narrow minded. So how much of that do you see in your travels?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the great thing about travels is you often attract people that think likewise, or, that have also been
Mm.
traveling for a while. Because, yeah, I've been a digital nomad, as they would like to say so, for about 7 years now, full time. I left Germany 2009, so even much before that, I moved to New Zealand for some time. And then since 2019, essentially been like a full on digital nomad. And so often when I speak with people that are settled in one specific place, they're like, so what, you don't have an apartment or a house? I'm like, no, I just rent shorter or longer term depending on how long I want to stay somewhere. So you don't have a car? No, I just use public transportation, or I walk, or I take an Uber or whatever. Or so you don't, but you have to be like registered in or be like registered in a specific country. I'm like, no, like all these things where you're like, yeah, to a degree, but also you can break out of all of this. And yeah, thankfully I do meet a lot of other fellow travelers that have more of an open vision. And I don't blame anybody who doesn't know any better, because truly many parents or even teachers and government people will tell you, yes, you need to have this and this and this and this and that. And I don't mean to say that any of that is truly quote unquote bad or wrong. It's just, I want people to make conscious decisions and be like, okay, am I really ready for marriage, or do I even want to get married in the first place? Am I really wanting to take this job, or am I only taking this job because I am fearful I'm not going to find something better? Am I really wanting to live in the city, or do I only live here because the generations before me have lived here? Like, none of this is yes or no. It's just like, think about it, make a conscious decision what you want and how you want your life truly to look like, not just right now, but 5 years down the road, 10 years down. Like, we can create a life by design. We just need to like literally come up with the design. I do think that many people don't end up living the lives that they'd like to, not because they can't, but simply because they have never defined or thought about what they actually want.
Bingo. So going back to the first question I asked you about who are you at your core? Remember, I was saying before we went live, a lot of people can't answer that question. It's like there's probably maybe about a dozen episodes in where I started with them being like, oh, that's a great question. I'm like, for some of them, I'm like, you have a multi-six-figure business and you don't even know who you are at your core. And I think that's where people get stuck, right? And this is also something that I've lived, because I was in the restaurant industry for a while, and just thinking like that was my ceiling. Because like I dropped out of college, so it's like I didn't have a background. You're told here in the States anyway, you're told if you don't have a degree, you're going to be flipping burgers or pumping gas, and I let that get into my head. And I knew I wanted to get back into fitness because I was always an athlete, and I knew I wanted to do something with speaking. And then the podcasting world opened up, but like it was already there. It was right in my subconscious already. But people, I think, and I want to get your take on this, is I think people get stuck because they don't know who they are at their core. So they attach their identities to either their career or being a parent. What are your thoughts?
100%. I definitely agree that is often the case. And there are several dangers that come with that, because if you only create one identity for yourself, if that suddenly falls away, let's just say you become unemployed, or your kids move to the other side of the world, like I did, it's like, who am I outside of being a parent? Who am I outside of that person who works in the restaurant industry? And the more we can really have a bit of a diverse approach or clarity on who we really are and want to be, and what sort of footprint we want to leave in the world, I do think the better. And to what you were saying beforehand, I really, again, I want to highlight, I don't think that any of this is like malice, neither from like our parents or whoever is telling us like, no, you can't do that. Quite often it actually just comes more from a place of they want you to be secure or close to them, or they really don't know any better. But I also want to say, like, just because something is normal doesn't mean it's the right thing. And nutrition or health is the best example for that. If we look at what is the standard normal American diet at the moment, it will lead to being overweight, obese, health, or having some disease, being prone to health conditions, and so on. So if you think about, I'm just going to do what everyone does or thinks is normal, you're probably going to end up having that normal sort of life. But if you, the listener, want to have an exceptional life, and if you have even just a small feeling within you, like I did for many years, of like, this cannot be it. There has to be more to life. It cannot be that I feel so restricted with the food. It cannot be that I'm so unhappy in my job situation. It can, like, is this normal? I literally remember going up to my mom and asking, is it normal to be annoyed by your spouse all the time? And of course she said, yes, it is. And yeah, okay, sometimes people drive each other crazy, but I truly know now that no, you can have an amazing relationship. You can have an amazing body, and like all these, that's what I want to encourage people to like step out of that it's just mediocre, it's normal, I'm gonna settle for that because life is too short. I mean, I don't know how many lives we are given, but I'm just gonna assume it's only the one, and therefore I'm gonna try to make the most out of it. And if you're settling for mediocrity and then you get to your deathbed, like so many people do, and so many studies or books or whatever interviews show, and they're like, oh, I regret not taking more risks, I regret not telling that person I love them, I regret not traveling more. I don't want the listener to be that person. I want the listener to think like, I truly lived, I truly enjoyed my life and still like took care of my health, because a lifespan is not everything. Modern medicine is so great in extending life, but to me it wouldn't mean anything if I lived to 100 if at 60 or from the point I'm 60 onwards I can't walk anymore, I'm dependent on other people, I am very, very limited in all the things that I can do. I want to have quality of life, and that's another aspect of like my mission here.
Yeah, and that's one thing I think that's very underrated as well, is we get caught up into the entertainment part of life as living. It's like you got to live, you got to eat all the things, drink all the things, and meanwhile your body's deteriorating.
Oh yeah.
It's like, right? It's like, how is that living? It's like I'm not only eat chicken and asparagus kind of guy. It's like I'll have pizza, I'll have Chinese food. When I go on vacation, I eat the things that I want to eat, but I also make sure I burn enough calories to offset it. It's like I go into it with a game plan, where a lot of people just go all in and then they wonder why they feel like crap when they come back. And it's almost like your body's communicating with you. It's like you feel like crap
so
because you did too much.
No,
Right?
what you said is so interesting, because you threw out the two extremes. You threw out the thing that, of course, consumerism is trying to encourage us to do, is like consume as much as you can over Christmas. It's absolutely normal to put on 20 pounds or 10 pounds, whatever.
Yes.
You can just burn it back off in January with your super restrictive diet that you have to pay for with your detox plan and detox teas and blah, 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 blah. And then you go on vacation again just to gain it all back. And then you need to cut again for the summer. And like this whole yo-yoing extreme thing is so encouraged. And you just gave that perfect example. Often we think it has to be one or the other. Like I thought for so many years, I either have to eat super, super, super clean, or I'm going to plan out my cheat and binge weekend. And I think the power, or not just I think, I know that the true power lies within moderation and consistency with everything. And you'd know that as a personal trainer or someone in the health and fitness space. Consistency is the best training program is not going to yield nothing if someone cannot follow through, if someone only does that for like a week or 2 weeks and they're like, oh, I haven't worked out in several years, but I want an exercise plan for 6 times per week. And if they do that, they would burn out so quickly. It's not going to transfer into a proper habit. It's not going to transfer into them taking on a new identity. So we really like moderation and consistency. If the listener doesn't take anything away from this podcast, just think of those 2 words: moderation, consistency. Learn how to eat just one piece of brownie and be happy with that. It doesn't have to be the whole pan, or it doesn't have to be a whole pizza. You can also stop after 2 slices and have a salad on the side and enjoy it. It can this is truly what I'm super passionate about, because the all or nothing mentality, the yo-yoing, is how over time, year after year after year, people put on 5 more pounds every year. And then again, you're being told that that is normal. As you age, gaining weight is normal. As you age, becoming like very dependent on other people, losing all your muscle is normal. No, it doesn't have to be. We can get very, very far with healthy training and with the right nutrition and moderation.
Yeah, and it goes back to my intro video where I said clarity of vision. Like I'm sure you hear this too. When people come in for the consultations, it's like, I just want to be healthier. And I'm like, all right, what does that look like? I want to lose weight and tone up. It's like, yeah, you and the 1,500 other people that have come through the doors have gave the same answer. It's like, what does that look like? And a lot of times they don't know. So like when you're not clear, right? When you're not clear, it leads to inaction. Because you're not actively heading towards a destination. Like with me, my goals are always athletic based. I am 51 years old now, and I'm actually having my knee replaced on Wednesday. But I'm already planning beyond it. I haven't
Yeah,
even had the surgery yet. I'm planning to do an obstacle race in June. Like I'm planning
amazing.
on being at this spot within 90 days. I'm gonna be at this spot in 9 months. And every day that I get up, that's what I'm working towards.
Mhm.
So now I'm human just like everyone else, right? So I wanted some chips earlier with lunch. So I don't get the big bag of chips. I get the one single serving. Because I
Mhm.
always tell people that say they have a problem with snacking, I'm like, no, you have a problem with shopping.
Yeah.
Because if you have too much on hand, that's where the overeating comes into play. Like if you want ice cream, they make individual cups to get just enough to take off the edge, and then you can keep yourself on track. So you mentioned all or nothing.
Mhm.
What do you say to people who say that? I'm just curious to see how your answer is compared to what I usually say.
My answer is that practice in moderation is a practice, and just in the same time or on the same side of the coin, all or nothing is something that you've been practiced and have ingrained into your brain, into your habits, probably for many, many years. That is great news, because that means you can also unlearn this all or nothing mentality. And it starts with things like, exactly like you were saying, like learning how to shop the right way, maybe buying not the family size thing, but the snack thing, maybe on a regular basis. Because quite often the tendency then, when people come to me, they're at the stage where they feel so gross about themselves, they just want to cut out everything completely. They're like, I'm not
Yeah.
going to have sugar ever anymore. I'm probably also going to cut out all the carbs. I'm not keeping anything sweet in my house ever, and I'm not going to eat out for the next month. I'm like, yeah, I would not recommend doing that, because you're gonna get burned out from all of this, and then at some stage wanting to binge on everything. Why don't we include some carbs around your workout still? The other meals, if you really want to make them carbless or whatever, sure, that's fine. Why don't we, on a weekly basis, still plan in that you go on date night with your husband and you share a dessert there? Why don't we do that? Oh no, but if there is going to be something sweet, I have to have it all, and I might order another one. But can we practice that you just share that? Once that is successful, maybe even you can learn how to incorporate on a daily basis after your dinner that you can have one or two pieces of dark chocolate or an individual sized ice cream. These are all practices, and you're going to fail at that at some point. If you're at a buffet, would be like if someone is an alcoholic and the first time after that they step into a bar and they fail to control themselves. That is kind of to be expected. If someone with an all or nothing mindset comes to me and in week 2 they go on an all-inclusive cruise, they're probably not going to do all that well. But after a month or two, if we just slowly say, okay, you're invited to this birthday and there's going to be a bunch of stuff, let's make a plan for it. Exactly like you were saying, let's make a plan for that. Let's maybe plan that your first plate is just going to be vegetables and protein, and you after that allow yourself to have one carby thing. Let's plan that for your desserts you can either have one full-sized piece, or you can share two or have two small ones or something like that. And if you have that plan for it already, it limits automatically what you're going to allow yourself, because otherwise with an all or nothing mentality, you're going to think, oh, this is my free for all thing. It doesn't count. Everything counts. Calories, they don't, it's not like once in Vegas and it stays in Vegas type of thing. So yeah, truly all or nothing is something that we can unlearn, and I really think people just need guidance and accountability and the right strategies. And I wanted to touch on what you said earlier about the lack of clarity and people saying things like, I want to be healthier. As we are recording this is still kind of beginning of January. I do think it is important to walk people through that, or people who have never properly defined their goals or like found clarity around their goals, and to walk them through what that can even look like. So like breaking down, hey, I want to be healthier. Okay, why don't you, and which aspects do you not feel healthy at the moment? Oh, well, I don't fit into my clothes that well anymore. I kind of am bloated all the time. I have this afternoon low at 3 o'clock. I always want to grab a muffin. I don't feel I'm attractive anymore. I have a hard time breathing when I'm going up the stairs. There's a lot of things to unpack if someone just says these things. It's like, okay, why don't your clothes fit that much anymore? How much do you feel or do you know you have gained over this and that amount of time? That gives us a bit of an indication of how much they would lose. Then let's dig into the why they're huffing and puffing when they're going up the stairs. Are you currently exercising? Are you not exercising? What can we include? What's realistic for you? Those kind of things. Then going into the I don't feel attractive anymore, or I feel bloated. There's a lot of things like what are you eating on a regular basis, and then breaking that down into actionable steps of like, okay, you're currently literally not doing anything. Let's just start by walking 2 times 10 minutes every day. Is that something you can do? Yeah, I think I can do that. Ideally, you can do that after your meals, so that it's also helping your digestion, since you mentioned you're bloated all the time. Oh yeah, okay, I guess I can give that a try. And then building on that and building like you were saying, like I'm sure for your obstacle race as well, or after your surgery, you're going to mostly focus on building up that strength around the knee and getting full range of motion, doing a lot of things that keep you stable so that when you're running or when you're in this kind of environment, you're protected well, and you're not just focusing on working out your arms, because then jumping into a obstacle race would really be kind of dangerous.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like when people when people come to me and they say, "Well, I'm all or nothing," my first response is, "How's that working out for you?"
Yeah, it's a good point.
Right?
Yeah,
It's clearly not working if you're here, right? It's
exactly.
clearly not working.
Mhm.
So you have to give yourself wiggle room. Like one of my former business coaches, she used to always say, she's like, it's not really conceivable to go 100% all the time. Like it's just not. She's like, one day you might be 85, one day you might be 55, one day you might be 65, and that's okay as long as you're doing more towards your goal than not. Right? As long as you're doing more. So nice bald head. Thanks. I'm sorry. That was an odd comment that caught me off guard. Thanks. I try. I try. All right. So you mentioned earlier too about like doing things in doses. Right. 'Cause I'm constantly telling people, all right, stop it with the I don't have time. You gotta just stop it. Whenever I hear people say that, I'm like, I'm like, I can run you through one of my days, right? And at one point, I was working probably close to 90 hours a week. Like, so this was after I had lost everything a few years ago, and to build myself back up. But I didn't miss a thing. Like I didn't miss a thing. Still got my workouts in. Still got my shopping in. Still got everything else in. It's like it's all about what you're focused on, right? And what do you want most? And you kind of touched on it a little. What are you tired of? It's like,
Yeah,
are you tired of feeling bloated? Are you tired of your ankles hurting? Are you tired of getting winded?
yeah,
It's like if you're tired of that stuff, then it should be easy for you to slow down on the snacking. It's like
yeah,
if you can't slow down on the snacking, you're not tired of it. Like you're still accepting of it. So we have to understand that it's on us. Like if I'm out with a group of friends and I typically just get protein and double vegetable. Like, and people are like, that's what you're having. I'm like, no, don't worry about my diet,
yeah.
right? Don't worry about my food choices. You worry about your food choices. This guy.
Yeah, I think what's so powerful about what you're saying too is
Oh,
that
no.
even just doing the small, you're doing the small things is going to be like a vote towards the personality that you want to become. So like
Uh-oh.
again, like in the sense hasn't done
Oh, there we go.
anything and they feel like they need to get a full 1 hour workout in or something like that. And they feel like if they don't get the 1 hour workout in, they failed and they will just leave it anyway. But if you still say, okay, I've got 15 minutes, I can do a 10-minute sort of hit thing or whatever, you will build the confidence in yourself that you can keep on doing what you set yourself out to do. Every time that you set yourself something out to do and you fail to do that, it's kind of you're giving yourself wiggle room. So then one time turns into 2 times missed, 2 times turns into 3 times. Before you know it, you haven't worked out in a week. And that's the same thing with food as well. But if you have something that's small and achievable, and you're not saying like not failing is working out 5 times a week for 1 hour, or failing is not doing that. So that would be your all or nothing. Or if you're the person, I'm going to do something active every single day. How much easier is the second one to achieve, to prove to yourself, to build the identity of I'm the person who does something active every single day? That is so much easier, because even just doing 2 10-minute walks per day counts towards that. Even if you are on a business trip and you only have 10 minutes and you're doing a few push-ups and air squats before you're hopping under the shower, counts as that. But you continue to feel like I am the person who can be and stay active even when shit hits the fan, even when I'm super busy. Whereas the other person's like, oh no, I can't work out today. And then we're back to the excuses and all of that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, the excuses is everything. Like I try to encourage people to get it done in the morning. You know, people like, well, I'm not a morning person. Like, do you want to change, or do you want to stay the same?
Yeah.
Right? Because you told me you're busy, right? If you're busy, so if you get it done first thing in the morning, life can't get in the way now, right?
Yes.
And I tell people, you are what you're conditioned for, right?
Yeah.
Before I started teaching a class in the 5 o'clock hour, I used to avoid it until I had one of my first business coaches was like, Robert, it's like, you need something in the 5 o'clock hour. It's like, dude, getting up at 6:30 is killing me. You know, and now I'm up at 4:30 every single day. Like it just became habit. So you know, I tell people, so if busy is your thing, like if after work isn't good because the kids come home from school and you got after sports, you got to do dinner, then get up in the morning. If you're not willing to do that, then again, you're not fed up. Like this is not, I don't want to say it's hard. Like I don't want to say it's hard, but if you make it a routine, it's easy, right? It really is easy to consume enough water, to get enough steps in, work out. If all you have is 10 minutes, do push-up, squat, sit-ups. Set a timer for 10 minutes and do push-up, squats, and hold a plank or something. And do that for 10 minutes. Like that's all you got to do is something. Go ahead.
Well, and in the morning, usually our willpower is a lot higher. In the morning, if you don't look at your phone straight away and read some silly messages, you are not as influenced by the world. You don't have to be as reactive. You just get your shit done and then you deal with the world. And I think there is something special about like priming our day in the morning and really just getting the most important things done. So you know that even when you're really busy at work or when there's things with your family going on, you can be there for them, and not using them as examples. Because I mean, like really, I think this is one of the, I'm not a parent yet, but I think it's one of the nice things where you can set a wonderful example to your kids in the sense of, yes, you guys are my priority, but I can only take the best care of you when I'm also taken care of. And also, I want to live a long life for you guys. And also, I want you to be active when you're growing up too. And I don't want you to see me using you as an excuse. Like if I was a child, I would not want to be used as an excuse for, oh, my dad is sick now because he could never work out for the last 20 years because he felt like he needed to spend time with me. I don't know. I think, it's really like people always say you can teach or try to teach your children so many things through words. It doesn't mean very much at all if you don't live by those words. So like telling your kids, be an active person, it's important to work out, but then you never do it, is not going to really sink through.
Exactly. It's like I coached track and field obviously now I'm dealing with the knee thing. But before that flared up, being over 50 and can still show these kids by example what to do. It's like, guys, I need you to get on the edge of the long jump pit, and I can actually demonstrate the exercise. I mean, I think that goes a long way than someone who's clearly out of shape, trying to bark orders at these kids, and it's like you're asking them to do stuff you can't do.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Like, no, I think you're spot on there.
All right. So let's get into like the actual science of burning body fat. Right. So just give me your blueprint for that. or some of your blueprint?
As you mentioned, you actually led us very nicely to that in the beginning already. There are many methods. There's a great saying which goes, methods many, principles are few, methods change often, principles never do. So when we're looking at fat loss, just looking from a scientific perspective, what we need to create is less energy going in than what we are burning, and that will inevitably lead to body weight going down. Now, whether that weight comes from fat or muscle, that we are going to touch on a little bit in a minute with more specifics. But generally speaking, we can elicit this weight loss or this energy deficit through either an increase in calorie expenditure, so doing more activity, or eating less, or a combination of both. And many people, when they start cutting out carbs, they're like, oh, that is the secret to everything. No, it's not specifically the carbs. It's just you cut out a chunk of calories through the carbs, and therefore you've elicited a calorie deficit. Now, if someone wants to go vegan, and by going vegan, they are eliciting a calorie deficit, they're also going to lose weight. So it really depends. What I prefer to do, because I have tried many of these, I've done the low carb thing, I've done the low fat thing, I've done all of it, and it always felt restrictive to me. So when I learned that hypothetically I can eat anything in the sense of variety, I can have some bread and I can have a steak and a burger and whatever, but I need to modify the quantity accordingly so that I'm still in an energy deficit. That was for me very, very freeing, because for so many years I just thought, like, even eating a small bowl of cereal, I'm going to get fat right away because this is just carbs and sugar and what. So I had a really a very moral approach to food, where it was just, this is good, this is bad. If I have just the smallest amount of good, I'm going to get fat, and of bad, I'm going to get fat. Whereas as long as I eat clean, I can eat as much as I want. And that is wrong too, because I had these huge, my breakfast, for instance, it was 4 eggs, salmon, seeds, avocado, sweet potato, and something that was called bulletproof coffee. So black coffee with cream and butter in it and so on. And I was surprised that I wasn't losing weight on that, because because I thought it's all healthy, right? But I mean, for the listeners, those are all very calorie dense things. Avocado, that's fat mostly and some fiber. Salmon, a fatty fish. 4 eggs, seeds. So my breakfast was 1,000 and whatever calories. For someone my size, that is half of my daily calorie allotment. So once I learned about the calorie content, I was allowing myself to, 80-90%. I want to eat quote unquote clean. I want to eat whole foods, unprocessed foods. But from time to time, if post workout I crave a bowl of cereal with my protein shake, that is cool. I can eat that. And so that's the method that I'm using with my clients as well, because most of them come from kind of a restrictive mindset, where they have attached moral value to food, or they think this is the only way, this is how it has to be, and they beat themselves up if they ever sidestep from that. And then once you learn, no, it's not about that, it's about the quantity and also the right distribution of protein, carbs, and fats, which determines in the end if we're losing body fat or lean mass and so on. And then it's whoa, my body composition is changing. Whoa, I'm feeling so much more energized. Whoa, I'm recovering so much better from the gym. And that truly I think is not just I think, but from approaching things from a science-based place as opposed to a dogmatic place is very, very helpful for many people.
Okay, so we have a comment. This is the most engagement I've ever had on YouTube, the most engagement. Cool. But I know he probably meant this to be funny, but this is actually a thing, right? He says, my wife cooks a lot and I like to fast, but I don't want to offend her. So I actually hear this one a good amount from you. Usually it's from the men, saying, oh, well, my wife loves to cook. I'm like, okay, but you're here, you're not happy with you. Oh, and Mark, congratulations on the weight loss also. I don't know if I put that one up on there, but yeah, I hear that all the time where people are they're forcing themselves to eat to appease their significant other. But it's if you're not happy where you are, it's like you have to have the courage to be like, hey, I know you love to cook, but can you cook a little healthier? If that's the conversation that you have to have. Like back when I was with my now ex, like I did all the cooking, and like I would make whatever for her and the kids, and then I would make something separate for me, and we all still ate together,
No,
but
lovely.
I still took care of my own because I was overweight one time in my life. I lost 45 pounds, and I was
Oh.
like, I will never ever go back there again. It was like never. So I make sure that I take control of my own portions and what I'm eating.
I have so many thoughts on this. So first of all, I mean, being an internal people pleaser, most people are brought up that way, me too, is very common. So often it makes us want to give into not just pressure from, and it might not even be pressure, but makes us want to please the other person, or peer pressure or something like that, when they're like, oh, I just, like my grandma, for instance, she's always like, I made this cake just for you. I'm like, great, I will have a small slice. And if I only have one, she's like, you didn't like it. In the past, you had 3 slices of
Mm.
this. And I'm like, no, grandma, this is lovely. I'll take another one home for tomorrow. But I know if I have more now, I'm not going to enjoy it as much, and I won't feel as good about it. And that's something that I try to teach too. So always, like, number one, communication. I think you already said it, is so important. So just saying like, hey, by the way, I'm trying to take even better care of myself, to feel lighter, to be there for you, and to feel fitter and so on. That means I would actually love to fast a little bit. Would it be possible if you just cook one meal for me, or if we only eat once a day together, and we'll find the best time that works, and otherwise I'll do my own meals. Is that okay for you? And she might be like, yeah, okay, no problem at all. And then also for those meals, would it be possible to mostly have like protein and vegetables, and you can still have your burger bun with it or whatever, and I'll just have a lettuce wrap. And like you mentioned, it you can have the base together, like make something that, like a taco, for example, having taco night. You might make it a lettuce wrap taco if you're currently not wanting to have the carbs, and the wife can have a regular taco. The kids can put more cheese on it, and whatever it is, but everybody's still having tacos technically, and it still brings people together, which is so lovely, because food is something communal. And I really think it often is about how we say things, and not just that we say things. So if we're saying like, I
Yes.
feel, nobody can argue with that. Whereas if you say, oh, I'm on a diet, I can't have that right now, it makes it sound atemporary. It makes it sound very negative, like you don't actually want to do it, and it's imposed on you. You're like taken on a victim mindset. And then people usually say, oh, come on, just this once, this is fine. And if you give
Hmm.
in, then they'll try again. And because they can push, and it's not about you really, it's about them. They want to feel, they want you to want to include you, and they want to not feel bad about their own choices either. So if you say, I already feel full, thank you, I don't need seconds, they might still push back, but nobody can say like, no, you don't feel full, because this is how you feel, right? Like it's not like it's arguable. Or you might just say like, I feel like if I had more of this, I wouldn't enjoy it as much anymore. Can you give me the recipe? I want to make it myself. It was delicious, but I can't have any more right now. So how we say things and communicating things clearly. But yeah, I think Mark was his name. I think that's really great that you're aware of it. And I would just say like, hey, let's have one meal together per day. Everything else can kind of be flexible. I would like to fast from this time to this time. Would it work for you if we have dinner no later than 6 p.m. so I can start my fasting window after that? And I'll grill the meat, and you can make the veggies as a side, and have that together. Something like that can almost be
Yes.
fun, perhaps. And I guess it leads me to another quite important point. Sometimes when only one person decides to change, it creates problems. That's really not uncommon. I see that very often with my clients. And it's not like the other person is trying to sabotage you. It is just that they feel like you are changing, and often, most of the time, people don't like change, right? They don't even want to change themselves, and even less when other people change. It comes more from a place of fear, because they then feel like maybe they're no longer good enough for you, even though it has probably nothing to do with that. So just
Yeah.
reassuring them like, hey, this year I'm wanting to drop some pounds, and you don't need to do my dietary changes with me. I just would appreciate appreciate it if maybe you don't bring home the pizza anymore, and instead, you just order your pizza and I'll have my steak on that night or something like that. But yeah, don't bring home my favorite ice cream either, because I'd rather not eat it right now. Thank you. I'd really appreciate that. Would already be a great support or something like that. And so just, remembering it has nothing to do with you, really. It's more out of fear on their side that they are afraid of losing you. And so the more you can reassure them, I'm not trying to change you. I am just doing that for me, and I don't need you to really like support me in any other way other than just not tempting me overly.
Yeah, so Mark, so this isn't directed at you. This is just a in general statement.
Yeah,
So
oh,
here
absolutely.
he writes, budget is good. And one thing that I find is not so much the budget is people pick and choose
Yeah,
what
oh yeah.
their budget is on. Like you'll see someone saying, "Oh, it's too expensive to train here." Then you look down and they're wearing the brand new Jordans. They got the fancy watch on, and you see them checking in at the fancy restaurants on Facebook, or going on vacations and all this other stuff. So a lot of times, and again, I'm not saying you, Mark, but a lot of times people, they're not prioritizing it. That's
Mhm.
what it boils down to. Like if you prioritize living healthier, you're gonna feel better. Like that's first and foremost. Like your cells are gonna get the nutrients that they need, so you're gonna feel better. You're gonna have more energy. You're gonna be less bloated. Like your circulation's gonna improve. Your digestion's gonna improve. It's like these are all positives, right? So I don't understand why health is like one of the first things to go when things get tight. It's like, get rid of Netflix, get rid of Amazon Prime, get rid of all of these conveniences, because that's what it really comes down to. It's convenience. Like
Yeah.
it's easier to just go to McDonald's,
Yeah.
but I have to go shopping, and then I have to prep food, and then I have to do the cooking, and back
And
to
even
the
there, like that's really not an excuse
time.
anymore, because you can get your groceries delivered by,
That's true too.
Whole
Yeah.
Foods or whatever. And even if you don't want to cook at home, you can get very healthy meal prep services that even display the macros and the calories and all that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like we could talk all day about this, but just talk about what you do, like what you do, where people can find you, if you got
Sure.
anything to offer.
Yeah, and I just also want to say thank you so much for having me on, Rob. Honestly, I think your work is great, and you're
Thank you.
encouraging other people to do wonderful things. So keep doing what you're doing, keep grinding. So
Thank
my
you.
company is called Nutrition Coaching and Life, and you can find me on all platforms under that name. So on Instagram is probably where I'm most active and trying to provide the most free value content. And I'm also on YouTube. I have my own podcast, which is the Nutrition and Life podcast. And that's basically where people can connect with me. If you're listening to this or watching this and you're enjoying our conversation, just drop me a line. I'd love to hear from you. And I also have some freebies and free resources on my website, so come and check it out.
Awesome. Yeah, I just happened to glance down. I was like, whoa. I was like, I didn't realize we've been talking for so long.
Very,
All
very
right.
easy flow conversation. Yes.
All right, so let's break it down. I'm gonna throw it to you for some final words, whatever you want to share.
I just want to pick up from the beginning and saying, if you feel like there's more out there for you, if you feel like you are living a mediocre life, know that you're not meant to live a mediocre life. You too can live a life that feels amazing in a body that feels amazing, and strive for it. All you need to do is gain clarity and take action.
See, there it is. Gain clarity and take action. I know I just said final words, but I'm glad that you just said that, because like I said earlier, a lot of people's goals, they're not really goals. It's an idea. It's like
Mm-hmm.
people like the idea of being healthier, but then you start putting in the work, and then here come the excuses, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Like I tell people when they first start with me that it's a 2 week curve, right? It's a 2 week curve. Like these first 2 weeks, they're going to be tough. Even though we're going to work you slow, it's still
Mm-hmm.
going to be new for you. You're going to be sore. It's
Yep.
like there's no way around it. I said that first week is going to be rough. Get through it. Like that second week, because now your body's adapted to the changes. So that second week, it's good. Like usually I say around 10 days or so, it starts to subside. I was like, you make it to day 15, now just keep going. It's like, don't take your foot off the gas. Just keep going. Take a rest here or there. But I encourage people to do something every day. Like even if you just walk. If you're in a warm area where there's pools year round, go for a swim, ride a bike. It's like you don't have to work to failure every day. That's not smart. But just keep moving. Do something every single day. And no one ever regrets it. No one ever. Damn, I'm so sick of being fit.
Never heard that in my life either.
It's so worth the effort. But all right. And anyways, like I said, I don't want to go off on another whole tangent. But thank you. And also, I let all the guests know I do panels. Right. So on this particular one here, the topic is embracing vulnerability. Right. So we always pick one topic, and there can be up to 7 of us because I usually invite 6 of my former guests. And then once I know who's coming, I pick the topic, because I've interviewed everyone. So I know what everyone can speak on. And it's all about. Okay. Yeah. It's all about sharing different perspectives. It's like I tell people, it's not a debate panel. It's like, it's okay if you want to talk apples and I'll talk oranges and somebody else talks plums. Like, it doesn't matter. It's like we want as many different and diverse perspectives as possible. So if that's something that interests you, let me know. And then when I do the next one, I'll get in touch with you and I'll let you know.
Awesome.
All right. Good. All right. Well, again, thank you much. Let me cue the outro. Don't sign out yet, though. Mm-hmm. All right. But we'll still say bye. Oh, and thank you to those of you who tuned in on the live stream. Yeah, like I said, for whatever reason, usually the majority of my engagement comes from Facebook, but it was like almost all YouTube today. So,
amazing.
I'll take it. Wait, interesting. You brought up hold on, let me just read this last one. Produce the grocery store is bad for that. Yeah, that is true, but we'll save that for another day. Again, StreamYard, I hate this new layout. There we go. All right, take care, everyone.
You've been listening to Shut Up and Grind. We hope you've gotten some useful and practical information from this show. Robert has over 20 years experience pouring his knowledge and expertise at many events in the service and fitness industry, as well as secondary schools and universities. He has a true passion for helping others break through the barriers that are holding them back. To book Robert B. Foster to speak or to reach out, go to robertbfoster.com. Till next time, shut up and grind.